All right, Sacktown, what is going on? SactownPete back at it again. I got Calvin and Barry from the Royal Rebounds TV joining me in the post game wrap. The final score for tonight from Philadelphia 103 to 101. Let's go and talk about it. Calvin, Barry, welcome. How about that game?
What's up, Pete? Oh man, another heartbreaker for Sacramento.
Yeah, yeah, definitely another heartbreaker. With this loss tonight, the Sacramento Kings go 0-4 on this current road trip. They will wrap up the road trip Monday in New York against the Knicks at the Madison Square Garden. Just a couple of things I want to talk about. Tyrese Haliburton. Wow. 11 of 19, 40 minutes. He had 38 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. It just seems like Tyrese Haliburton goes in another level when De'Aaron Fox is out. What you guys take on Tyrese Haliburton tonight?
So,
He obviously played lights out. I mean, it was great to see him have a much better offensive game than a few of the games we've seen, in the past week or so. That fourth quarter was spectacular to watch. It's just, again, unfortunate that the Kings come up short. They actually had a 17-point lead in this game. I'm not sure what to be more unhappy about, losing by 53 and being down by 60 at one point in a game, or a game like this where you should win. You're up in the fourth quarter. You got off to a really good start. Everything seems to be clicking offensively. And again, they just can't get enough stops. And Joel Embiid was an absolute monster inside.
yeah, I mean, I feel like a new career high for Tyrese was awesome to see as far as points, also free throws for him. Everyone's big knock against him lately is he hasn't been aggressive enough. I hope 38 points proves that he is aggressive. And as you mentioned, just the fourth quarter shooting for him was incredible. Dude was knocking down difficult threes and not even touching the rim.
I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys. As frustrating as this road trip has been, despite to see Tyrese Haliburton elevate and take his game to another level tonight, it just was really disappointing to see that the Sacramento Kings ended up losing the game, despite a great performance from Haliburton, like you mentioned, a career high at 38 points. The thing that really bothered me was the fact that not only did we have a 17-point lead, but fourth quarter happens. Joel Embiid goes unstoppable. He goes beast mode. The fact that Philadelphia 76ers had 17 turnovers and shot 40% overall from the beyond the arc and 73% from the free throw line. In those two areas, the Sacramento Kings shot 44% overall from the field and 85% from the free throw line. And you think that if you're shooting these percentages better than your opponent, 99% of the time, you look like you're gonna win the game. And the fact that the Kings somehow just found a way to cough that up in the fourth quarter, defensive collapse, just mental breakdowns, and it just really what has been frustrating to see, especially tonight and the course of this road trip. Uh, what do we got to do about Monday? I mean, I know we wrap up the final road trip game in New York. What do we? I know the Knicks are struggling too. What do you guys think we have to do to bounce back in order to come out with the win on this road trip?
Well, I think they have to do a lot of more of the same of what they did today. I mean, part of the biggest problem, the Kings obviously have a lot of different areas where they struggle. But part of their biggest problem lately has just been the lack of competitiveness in general. They look totally disengaged. They just don't look like they want to be out there at all. Today, you didn't see that. You saw a little bit of fight from them. They got off to a pretty nice start. And then, as you were talking about with the team stats, they won in most of these categories today. They out-rebounded Philadelphia. They killed them on the offensive glass. 10 rebounds, 10 offensive rebounds for the Kings, just 3 for Philadelphia. Anytime you play a team that has Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond, that's a huge win if you're able to do that. Points in the paint, I think they need to do a little bit better job there. That's something that the Kings, have kind of hung their hats on all season long. And I realize without De'Aaron Fox in there, they obviously are going to get less looks in the paint, but they have to find a way to get easier buckets, continue to just make the game, kind of come to them, get into a rhythm, get into a flow. And then when it comes to the Kings, for me, it's always about stops. They just have to find a way to be able to make a couple more stops throughout the course of a game. In a close game like this, 2 stops on defense is probably the difference here. So,
Yeah, for me, two big things that really stood out to me. The first is the fourth quarter, only 18 points for Sacramento. They started out really hot in this game, as Calvin mentioned, You're not going to win a lot of games when you only score 18 in the fourth quarter. That is the most important quarter of the game. I know last season we saw De'Aaron Fox was one of the top, or if not the best, fourth quarter scorer. The Kings missed him tonight, but they just need to get better shots. I saw the offense get a little bit stagnant. They got stuck in that half court. They weren't doing the things that helped them get that 17-point lead earlier in the game. And then second for me is bench points. I know, bringing Davion to the starting role really affects their bench production, but I'm looking at Buddy Hield, man. He just continues to struggle. Only 2 points tonight, 0 for 7 from 3-point range. You're not going to win a lot of games like that, Pete.
I'm with you guys. I agree 100%. Considering the fact that De'Aaron Fox has been out and Davion Mitchell has been inserted in the starting lineup, the bench has just been, really lean on the offensive end, and especially with, like you mentioned, Buddy Hield, offensively just struggled to put the ball in the hoop tonight. And he got good looks. Most of his three-pointers that he had were majority of time they were good looks. They just, for whatever reason, just didn't go down tonight. And he got 23 minutes. It just seems like he can become a liability on the offensive end, especially when the shot's not going down. Moving forward, I'm hoping that De'Aaron Fox is back in the lineup soon, because as you mentioned, this is the type of game where De'Aaron Fox was needed, especially down the fourth quarter with the scoring offensively when the offense became stagnant. I just hope that De'Aaron Fox is around and hopefully ready for the next game. Do you guys know anything on your end if Fox will be back, or what's the time frame looking like for De'Aaron Fox?
I thought he was going to be available for this game. Personally, I know he was a late scratch. I don't know what's going on with that ankle. It could be some mental stuff too, surrounding the trades and all this potential stuff. I also want to mention one more thing about Buddy Hield. More turnovers than points tonight.
Yeah,
Yep.
you definitely aren't going to be effective as a basketball player if you have more turnovers than points, especially for somebody that has the ball in their hands quite a bit. But Pete, I'm with you on going forward. They need De'Aaron Fox back. This team is not anywhere near the same team without him, even if Tyrese Haliburton is putting up career numbers on any given night. Every game that passes, I get a little more worried about what's going on with him. All we hear is that it's a sore ankle. He's supposed to be day to day. This sounds like something that you should be able to play through pretty easily. So the more games that he misses, the more concerned I get about his overall standing with the team. Maybe there is something more going on behind closed doors that we don't know about, and that would worry me as well. So I certainly hope that we get to see De'Aaron back out on the court soon.
Calvin, you couldn't have said it any better. I was just gonna say, Alvin Gentry coming out saying that, oh, he's fine, it's just the ankle. But the more I think about it, the more I look into it, the more I read about it. It could be a combination of the things that you guys just mentioned, and it could be a mental thing. It could be the fact that his name is still in the rumor mill. And speaking of the rumor mill, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks. February 10th is around the corner. We're now 18-33. It is what it is. My opinion, they have to make some moves. Don't just make moves to make moves, but obviously make moves to improve the roster. But this roster, if for whatever reason, if fans of the front office think that they're good enough to compete for the play-in, they're not. They're not. They're 18-30. They're 18-33. They're currently 13th, about to be 14th in the Western Conference. It's disappointing, guys. It's really disappointing and very alarming. Just want to get you guys quickly before you let you guys go. Want to get you guys' thought on moving forward, or what do you guys expect to see from now until the trade deadline? Do you guys think Monty McNair's staff will make some moves?
Well, I certainly hope to see some moves. Whether I expect them or not, I don't know if I can give a clear answer on that anymore. I mean, we've heard so much about Ben Simmons. It feels like we've somehow gone through that saga like 3 times within the same year. All the different scenarios you heard, they wanted to trade for him, didn't want the high asking price, so they put it on the back burner. Then you thought it was going to go through after this past few weeks where it seemed like maybe there was a deal that the two sides could come to, and it didn't have to include any of the main pieces from Sacramento. And now you hear they're just pulling out altogether. So I still have a vote of confidence in Monte McNair that he's doing the right things or trying to do the right things here. However, it's going to be really hard for the fan base in general to come away from this trade deadline saying he's still doing a good job if he doesn't pull the trigger on one of these deals here. I totally support not making a deal for Ben Simmons if you felt like the asking price was too high. I don't think you should just make that deal just to make the deal necessarily, but they do have to do something here. It's very, very obvious. I don't know how easily you can sell losing games for the rest of the season to this fan base. So,
yeah, I agree 100%. I think a move will happen. I think multiple moves will happen. We hear about the Lakers are still interested in Buddy Hield. They offered THT, and the Kings quickly declined that. And they said that we have a lot of interest from a lot of teams. I don't know how much I really buy that, but I feel like there has to be teams interested in guys like Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, Harrison Barnes. Obviously, guys are going to be interested in De'Aaron Fox. But, you know, on the topic of Ben Simmons, I don't think this deal's dead. I think it's far from dead. I think, you know, a really important negotiating tactic is the pull away. It's like, okay, well, we're going to walk. You know, you're at a car dealership. They're like, this is the best price I can do. And you're like, okay, I'm going to walk. Sorry, I'm not interested. You walk away, and they follow you out to the parking lot and say, what can we do to make this happen? I think Daryl Morey and Monte McNair know each other so well that they are in a very elegant dance right now around a potential trade. And honestly, I would not be surprised if the Kings do acquire Ben Simmons.
Interesting. You know what? That's really well put and touted about Ben Simmons. Obviously, we've been linked to him for a year now, and we'll see. I mean, honestly, I'm all for Ben Simmons. Obviously, for the right pieces, if we can acquire him without giving majority of our core, which is the Haliburton and Fox, I'm all for it. But I'm also all for other moves as well. I mean, I know we're linked to Sabonis, we're linked to Miles Turner, Jeremy Grant is a name that's floating around the rumor mill as well as John Collins. I think that if you can get one of the players that we just talked about mentioned, that would be a big improvement. And moving forward, looking forward to seeing how that happens from now till the February 10th trade deadline. Really do appreciate you guys coming on. Everybody, go check out the Royal Rebounds podcast. I'll link their all the information in the description below. Calvin, Barry, it was a pleasure to have you guys on, man. Thank you guys so much for taking the time for coming on. And we'll see what the Sacramento Kings do.
Thanks, Pete. We'll be in town February 8th and 9th for the back-to-backs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Would love to catch a game with you.
Sounds good. I'll keep that in mind, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's going to do it for me. Thank you, Calvin. Thank you, Barry. You guys all take care. Have a good night. Keep pushing forward, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks, buddy. Go Kings.